So this one's from Browns Wire. 5 burning questions the Browns must answer in training camp. Number 1, who will step up at tight end behind David Njoku? Number 2, how does the back end of the wide receiver room shake out? Number 3, are the top tackles healthy and ready for 2024? Number 4, when will we see Nick Chubb back on the field? We told you earlier, running and doing some agility things today in front of the owner and the medical staff. And number 5 is Deshaun Watson. Is his shoulder ready for the season? Let's start there. Back-to-back days thrown, first time 11 on 11, so he's progressing, being Watson.
He's hitting those benchmarks that you want him to hit. That every time they seem to so far in OTAs, in minicamp, and now the first couple of days of training camp, every time they've put a benchmark in front of him, he seemed to have been able to hit it, check that box, and move on. Yeah, the 11 on 11 thing was huge for me because it was like, how long is it going to take for them to put him in that situation? Because they've avoided it to this point. And on top of that, back-to-back days to start camp that's probably the biggest portion of that really gives me hope about talking about his shoulder being ready for the year, because we just had not seen him practice in back-to-back days. He hadn't thrown, he hadn't done that thing, and now he did back-to-back days, and on that second day it was more than he had done before. So it's not just he did a little light throwing, he went through the motions, anything. No, they put him on full-blown 11 on 11 for the first time on a consecutive day for the first time. So those benchmarks are being hit. So right now I'm very optimistic, at least about the shoulder side of things with Deshaun Watson.
All right, so the top 2 tackles unable to go so far, and then Nick Chubb, he looks like he's trending in the right direction. I want to be cautious, but every time from what I'm told, he looked pretty normal when he was running and cutting today.
I'm the same way, Dave. I keep wanting to be like, hey, let's pump the brakes. I don't know. He's coming back. It's a really bad injury. It's the second time on that knee. And then something else happens, and I'm reminded that Nick Chubb is not human. Like, the fact that he is going out there, and everybody that was there, they didn't allow anybody to film it, so we don't know 100% unless you were there to see it. But everybody that I've read from multiple people, it appeared that he was running at full speed. It appeared he was out there doing it for potentially an hour after practice, like a long portion of this. He was cutting, doing agility drills. Naheem Hines was with him doing that stuff too, which is huge because he's also working his way back from a knee injury. And I just can't say to pump the brakes anymore at this point. It's just like, I think that it is very real that Chubb is back at the beginning of the season. I think they will be cautious. So if he does play, maybe some pitch count and some things like that. But each time I say, yeah, but if he does this, I'll really buy into it. Then he does that. So at this point, I think that you need to start thinking that he's going to be there sooner rather than later on the field to start the season.
And then you've got back into the wide receiver room. In my mind, you're looking for guys that have upside in the future. And relative to backup tight end or tight end behind David Njoku, we may not know that one until roster cutdown day. They may bring somebody else in.
That's where I'm at on the tight end room. That's where I kind of think. I think the wild card, the guy that has been getting some buzz is Zaire Mitchell-Paden. So I think I would like to see what he looks like come preseason, that sort of thing. I think there's some veterans that are going to get cut, and they're probably going to go looking for a tight end, like you said, on cut down day if they don't keep Zaire Mitchell-Paden. I just remember them like a couple of years ago signing Jesse James at the beginning of the year. I think that's probably ultimately what they do. They go find a blocking veteran that has been around, that is available as they're going into the season, and kind of probably pull the trigger on that, making him the guy that plays behind David Njoku. The back end of the wide receiver room, I'm really interested between David Bell and Michael Woods. I think those guys currently, I think Michael Woods is on the outside looking in, and I think David Bell is kind of on the fringe, because Michael Woods is interesting because he's similar to Cedric Tillman in terms of bringing that size and physicality, not quite the level size, physicality, and athleticism blend that Tillman has. But Woods brings a little bit of a different skill set and I think he was having a really good camp a couple of years ago before he got hurt then as well. But and then you look at David Bell, who's more just a possession guy, but he's going to be where he's supposed to be when he's going to be there. And it's like, which one of those would you rather? The guy that I think David Bell has a lower ceiling, but a higher floor. So would you rather that, or would you go with the wild card that's Mike Woods to round out the back end of that second wide receiver room? Because I think Jamari Thrash's athletic profile, I think he's number 5 on that list, and I think he's a shoe in.